Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today is what?
Warlock Wednesday. Yes. The best day of the week, as everyone always knows.
It's Warlock Wednesday again, and today we're going to be talking about the Eldritch Invocation, Gift of the Depths. Do like a fish thing.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a 5th level prerequisite for no good reason. It's from the other side of everything. You can breathe underwater and you get a swim speed equal to your walking speed, and you can also cast water breathing without expending a spell slot, and you regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest, which basically just means your party has water breathing at will. Basically, because it's an 8-hour duration, so it's like, yeah, your party can water breathe. Fundamentally, Gift of the Depths doesn't really have a home on any character sheet because the characters that would want it probably already have all of the effects that this is doing, and characters that would take it for like water breathing can just take that as a ritual spell on any other number of characters. So it leaves this as an invocation that is almost never worth the slot. Specifically because, like, if you want to do the Gifts of the Depths thing, you're probably playing a Fathomless Warlock, and they just get a swim speed and can breathe underwater just by being a Fathomless Warlock. So you're not left with a lot of room to want to dedicate an element of your character to this unless you're like absolutely have to by DM, and you'd rather just have someone else take water breathing and deal with that problem.
You might not want to be a fathomless warlock. You might want to be a different kind of warlock, but you still want to breathe underwater.
In that instance, have any other person learn water breathing than you. Pick it up in your Pact of the Tome ritual stuff. Get the ritual caster feat and get access to it that way. There are so many better ways to breathe underwater than Gift of the Depths.
Yeah, because water breathing, it's not even concentration. You're not going to lose it and suddenly be drowning.
Correct.
Up to 10 people, that's your entire party plus.
Yeah, I said 8 hours. That was me being naive. It's 24 hours.
24 hours.
It's this and next adventure, like in between the two rests, right? You'll cast it, adventure, rest, adventure, and you still have it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, why even bother gating it at once per long rest? I mean, it's just, you got it. But I guess they don't want you to be able to like just go cast it on a whole city's worth of people.
Why not?
I don't know. Maybe
would that be brokenly game breaking? I don't think so. I think it's dumb that it's gated.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And yeah, 24 hours. Like if you have this, you could be out in the middle of the desert and you still cast water breathing on your party. Because why not?
Well, that's actually another great point to it. Every adventure is an underwater adventure. And that's why I think ultimately this probably doesn't deserve a spot on any character sheet. If you want your water breathing effect, you want it to be close to free. And that's normally what water breathing is, right? It's a ritual spell the wizard sticks in their book. It's a spell the druid or cleric prepares when they need to, right? It's something that a character spends very little resources on, ritual cast it, and now you can adventure underwater. Or as part of other features that you're getting. So that would be the Fathomless Warlock, where you get your tentacle thingy that smacks people around, which is super fun. And that's the bulk of the class feature. And then as a ribbon, you can also just always have Gift of the Depths, the water, the swim speed, and breathing underwater, right? Those are kind of where you want it. You want it as like a little flavorful racial boon as a Triton or whatever, right? You want this not to be the bulk of what a feature is. And that a Gift of the Depths, that's the bulk of what the feature does, is it is that little ribbon fluffy thing that isn't really worth a whole meaty feature. It's not worth an invocation. It's not worth an actual set costed ability. That's why this ultimately, I think, is another reason why it's pretty terrible.
I was going to say the exception would be like seafaring campaign, but I don't know if your DM is going to have an adventure that requires you to spend a lot of time underwater, then this is just a tax.
Yeah,
you should have provide a means for that to happen.
Well, and most of the time there are cheaper ways to do it, and a lot of the cases, right? If let's say you wanted to do the seafaring campaign, normally you're going into the campaign knowing that. And that typically will lead people to play Storm Sorcerers. It'll typically lead people to play Fathomless Warlocks. It'll typically lead people to play Tritons, right? You'll take the naturally aquatic characters that can get a little bit more juice than normal out of their character sheet because they know they're going to be going and playing that environment a whole lot. For the same reason where, like, Fire Genasi get a little bit better whenever you know you're going into Hell, right? Whenever you know you're going into the Abyss or Avernus or wherever, you're like, okay, resistance to fire damage is actually going to be pretty impactful there. Then you can make characters targeting those environments. That's what you can do whenever you're doing the Seafaring campaign. And even if you don't do that, even if you just want to be a random arcane trickster that's, you know, a tiefling or whatever, you can still get access to the water breathing by being in the party that's doing the water breathing thing. And like at the absolute worst case scenario, what will end up happening is you'll get to, you know, 3rd or 4th level and you won't have water breathing yet, and your DM will want to do an underwater adventure and they'll go, oh crap, they don't have access to water breathing, your swim speeds, okay, whatever, just give them potions for it. And that will literally just smooth you over until you have access to the 24-hour water breathing at will. You don't want to have to spend an invocation on this. Again, if you get it through Ritual Caster, that's way better.
That's what I was just going to say. We recently talked about Ritual Caster. You know, somebody in your party should have that. I think that's a good one. And if they do, then that's your DM's opportunity to say, "Oh, look, you found a scroll of water breathing. Add it to the book."
No excuse for this to cost you a resource. Is the ultimate where I'm going to come down on it. You don't need to spend a resource on this. The swim speed equal to your walk speed is cute. It's fun if you can, like, you know, go really fast above water. Now you can go really fast underwater. If you're like a Tabaxi or something, that can be cute. I don't see much more reason to consider this on any character ever. Your invocations are too important. Your invocations are define what you do as a character. You don't want to have to take this at like 11th to 12th level because you've probably already passed all the water faring, adventuring at least, and have had other ways to do it for that time, right? This isn't something you're taking in the upper tiers. It's something you're supposed to take in the low mid tiers whenever water breathing first comes online. That's the most important time of a warlock's life as far as their invocations are concerned. This is where they are most crunched, is at 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th level. That's where you're like, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. I'm forgoing older ones. I'm jamming as much meat as I can onto my sheet for utility, for combat prowess. You're taking things like Thirsting Blade or Agonizing Blast. You're empowering a variety of elements of your characters in a really impactful, meaningful way. There just isn't room for Gift of the Depths there.
No argument here. I mean, there's so many other ways to get access to water breathing.
Yeah.
I keep going back to this, but A, ritual, B, 24 hours, C, affects 10 people.
And another really important element of it is every character under the sun basically has access to it, right? If you have access to spellcasting, you probably have access to water breathing. If you are a ritual caster, you have access to water breathing. If you have access to like the ability to use a spell scroll, you probably should be using water breathing that way as opposed to this way. There's so little reason for you to consider needing this. And the worst part is, right, if you take this without anyone else having water breathing, watching them all get it for free will feel terrible. Right? Where you're like, well, I came prepared to the table because I knew we were going underwater adventuring and I didn't really care what everyone else did. And the DM was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Everyone gets water breathing potions because I didn't know you took that. It's fine. It's whatever. You can cast your water breathing if you want to, but like they already were going to need this for free or anything. You don't really need to waste resources on it. That's what it's ultimately going to feel like, I think, almost always. So the speed upgrade is not nothing. It's not enough to make me go, yeah, this is worth it. If you want the speed upgrade and stuff, put it as a racial trait, put it as alongside of another subclass. Again, Fathomless Warlock is very clearly the gift of the depths direction. Maybe you want to be a great old one that also does the underwater stuff. Be a Triton, right? Like there are other ways to get that move speed than having to sink an invocation for it. This is something where it's like you're 13th level and you really wanted it for the longest time. You're going to have like a handful of encounters, like 5 or 6 tops left that are going to actually be taking place underwater where you care about your speed. And in those cases, maybe this is like your 4th or like your 8th or 9th invocation, but even then there's got to be better options.
No, I mean, and the only argument there is the speed, and I don't think that's a good enough one.
I agree.
You got a rating?
I think this is a 1. I don't think any character should ever probably put this on their sheet. Take the Book of Ancient Secrets and get ritual casting to get it that way if you want it. That's way better.
Or any other way.
Or any other way. Have a cleric in the party.
Yeah, so I agree with your assessment of a 1. Yeah, don't do this one.
It's trash.
But if you disagree, we'd love to know. Or if you agree, whatever. I just want more comments. Leave them down there in the comment section. Let us know what you think. All right, that was Gift of the Depths. Return it.
Good bit.
A gift that your grandma gives you that you really didn't want.
You're like,
Alright.
this definitely isn't what I asked for, Grandma. And it's the knockoff like Space Jam movie that you're like, yeah, I don't. Why did you give me this? Someone just stole your money.
All right, chuck it back into the depths.
Hmm.
All right, thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel and all that. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.